How you doing? I'm Darren with Kickin BBQ. If this is your first time to the channel, then welcome. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Today we are talking brisket. We're gonna be cooking a brisket on the Ole Hickory CTO. We're gonna be running low and slow with post oak, and I think it is gonna be absolutely amazing. I have my brisket all trimmed up here, so let's bring in and show you how we're gonna prep this up. All right, so here's our brisket. You can see I have it all trimmed up. This was a pretty gnarly brisket. It started off at about 20 pounds, and you can see it is quite a bit smaller than that now, and I'm pretty happy with how it looks. It could have been a little bit better of a brisket, but overall I think it is going to cook up wonderfully. Like I said, we're cooking on the Ole Hickory CTO today. This is just a choice brisket. It's not a prime, but it looks pretty good, so I think it's gonna cook up real nice. Now for our rub today, I'm gonna be using a rub that my buddy Dan from Tailgaters Barbecue, the creator of the party rub, gave to me. I think I've used this in a video before, but this is just 1.5 cups of pepper, half a cup of salt, 1/8 of a cup of garlic, and 1/8 of a cup of Lowry's, and this is what you get. This lays down some fantastic bark on brisket, especially with the 3-to-1 ratio of pepper to salt, so it's really hard to over salt this brisket. So we're gonna go pretty heavy with this rub today. I'll have this rub recipe down below if you want to go down and take a screenshot of it in the description. So I literally just got done trimming this up, so it's still pretty tacky. I did have some Worcestershire sauce here in case I wanted to use it as a binder. I'm not really a big fan of binders on my brisket, but this is still tacky enough to where we're not going to need it. So we're gonna start off on the bottom of the brisket. We are cooking fat side down today, and the reason being is that heat's coming from the bottom of the CTO. There is convection in there, so you could probably get away with cooking fat side up, but because I wanna have a great end result, I'm gonna go with what I know and cook it fat side down. So all we're gonna do is just get our rub shaken up real nice here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dump this into a bowl and I'm gonna season it by hand. I wanna make sure I get a really nice even layer here and the holes on this shaker aren't real big. So I'm just gonna make sure I have everything mixed up accordingly. And we're just gonna season this brisket, going for a nice even layer here. And I'm not gonna be afraid to go heavy. Like I said, this is a 3-to-1 pepper to salt ratio. So it's gonna turn out just fine. It's not going to be over salted at all. Now we're gonna flip it over and repeat the process on the top side. And this is the side I'm really gonna be mindful of having a nice even layer of rub because I want a solid appearance on this. I want a really nice bark. All right guys, and here is our brisket all seasoned up, looking absolutely wonderful. It smells fantastic. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this into the refrigerator for about a half hour while I get the Ole Hickory up to temperature. We're gonna be starting off at 225 degrees today. We're gonna let it go a couple hours, then we're gonna bump it up to 250, and we're just gonna let it go. And once it hits that stall, we're gonna bump it up to 275, then we'll wrap it. Of course, that is my game plan now. It could change drastically throughout the cook depending on how it's going. Again, it is about 9:30 right now, so I'm fully anticipating this cook going 12 hours, which if that's the case, when this is done, we're gonna pull it and then we're gonna do an overnight rest, which I've never done before on camera at least. So I have the warmer in the garage. I'll probably pop it in there. We'll slice into it tomorrow. I'm kind of curious to see if it's gonna make a difference. And I've wanted to try it for a while now, so I think that's what we're gonna do today just because I don't feel like eating brisket at midnight tonight. I'd rather enjoy it tomorrow. And I really wanna see if that long rest does anything for this brisket. So that's kind of the game plan today. Starting off at 225, letting it go a few hours. We're running post oak today. And yeah, we're just gonna see how this brisket turns out. This is just an eater brisket. So yeah, everything's looking good. I'm gonna get this into the refrigerator until I get the Ole Hickory pits fired up at 225 degrees, and I'll pick back up when we're getting this on the cooker. We'll see you then. All right, so the Ole Hickory CTO is up to 225 degrees. We have one split of post oak in there. We are going to get this brisket on right now. Check that out, really nice looking. I'm just gonna go dead center in here. Just get that squeezed in nice. All right, so I'm gonna let this go 225 degrees for 4 hours. I'm not gonna look at it, I'm not gonna touch it, I'm not gonna do anything with it. We're just gonna let this get a nice post-oak smoke bath. We'll come out and check it in 4 hours. We'll evaluate, see how we're looking, and go from there. But right now, 225 degrees for 4 hours. This brisket's gonna be amazing. I'm calling the shot right now. I'm Babe Ruthing it. It's gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna get this shut down and let it get back up to temp, and we'll see you in 4 hours. All right, so it has been 4 hours at 225 degrees. You can see we have some great color, some great bark formation coming along. We're sitting at about 147 degrees right here, 148.2 right there. So it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna bump this thing up to 250 degrees, let it go probably another 2 hours. We'll come out and check it. We're looking to start to get into that stall, and then we'll bump it up to 275 to push past that stall. And then we'll probably wrap it up. I haven't quite decided if we're gonna wrap it or let it go unwrapped and then wrap it during the rest. Either way, it smells wonderful. I'm gonna show you how much wood we've used right here. Give me 1 second to get this closed back down and get it up to 250 degrees. All right, so there is the split of wood that we've used. It's been going for over 4 hours now, and it's still looking real good, so we're just gonna let this keep running. This smoker is so efficient. So we're set at 250 degrees. Come back out and check it in 2 hours. See you then. All right, so it has been another 2 hours. We are 6 hours in total on this. The first 4 hours, we're at 225 degrees. These last 2 hours, we're at 250 degrees. We'll check our temperature here. We're sitting at about 156.3 degrees right there, dead center. So I can see right here by this liquid and this condensation on the brisket, we're starting to enter the stall. So at this point, I'm gonna kick it up to 275 degrees. We're gonna push through that stall, and we're gonna wrap after we break through that stall, probably at around 180 degrees. I think we are gonna go ahead and wrap this and then bump it up to get it finished. But this brisket is looking great. It smells wonderful. And that post oak, still the one split we've been running with. I may add one more little chunk here just to get a little bit more smoke on it before we wrap, but it is looking amazing. So I'm gonna get this bumped up to 275 degrees. I guess it's probably gonna be about another 2 hours, but I'll bring you back when it's time to wrap and let you know exactly how long it's been. So we will see you then. All right, so it has been 10 hours. This brisket is looking really good, really barked up, and we are sitting at about 181, 82 degrees in there. So it is time to get it wrapped. I'm loving the color. So I'm gonna get this inside and get it wrapped up, and I'll explain the next step in the process. We'll see you then. All right, so here is our brisket after 10 hours in the smoke. You can see it's barked up, it's looking amazing. Like I said, sitting at about 180 degrees here. We're gonna get this wrapped up, and then I'm gonna finish it off in my oven at 300 degrees just to get this done. And then we're gonna do the long overnight rest in the warmer. So I'll bring you back when this is tender, show you what it looks like, show you the internal temperature, and then we'll get it rest and we'll slice into it tomorrow. So let me get this wrapped up real quick. All right, so here's the brisket all wrapped up nice and tight. I'm gonna get this into the 300 degree oven, probably check it in an hour. I'm guessing it's gonna be about an hour to an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at 300 until this thing is tender. Again, we're not going by temperature, we're going for that probe feel on there, which I'll show you. So I'm gonna get this into the oven and I'll bring you back and let you know how long it takes to get done. All right, so it has been another 2 hours since we wrapped this brisket, had it in the oven at 300 degrees wrapped, which brings the total cook time to 12 hours. And if you remember in the beginning of the video, I estimated that was about how long it was going to take. But this is what I'm looking for right here. Just going in like absolute butter. There is zero resistance when it goes in, maybe just a hair, but it feels really, really good. So at this point, I'm just gonna leave this open like this. I'm gonna rest it down until it has an internal temperature of 150 degrees. I think that's probably gonna take an hour to an hour and a half. And then I'm gonna wrap it back up and get it into the warmer overnight. Like I said, all I'm gonna do, leave this open, let it rest down to 150 degrees. The warmer temperature is at 150 degrees. And once this reaches 150 degrees, I'm gonna wrap it back up and get it in there. And we'll pick back up tomorrow morning when it's time to slice into this. But it is looking really good. It smells amazing. It's got that jiggle factor. I think it's gonna be even better after a long overnight rest. So we will see you guys tomorrow when we pick up and slice into this and do the taste test. All right, so here is our brisket. We've let it rest for about 10 hours now, maybe pushing 11. You can see right here, we're at about 151 degrees. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this rest down to 140 degrees, and then we'll slice into it and see how it looks. We got a lot of juice in the bottom of this pan. I'm super excited to try this brisket, but I don't want to slice into it too early. So once it hits 140 degrees, we'll slice into it and see how we did, and I'll bring you back then. So we'll see you at 140 degrees. All right, so we've gone ahead and let the brisket rest down to 140 degrees. It is now time to slice into it, and I honestly cannot wait to see how this turned out. So let's get this opened up here. Oh, man. That's a thing of beauty right there. Check that out. Beautiful looking brisket. Let's get this out of the wrap here. Oh, that fat on the bottom feels nice and rendered. Get that right there. Take our juice, throw that over the top there. Guys, check that out. That is a beautiful looking brisket right there, if I do say so myself. Looks so nice. All right, well, I'd say enough's enough. We're gonna slice into it and see how it looks right now. Ooh, slicing real nice here. Let's check this out. Oh, tell me that doesn't look amazing right there. Look at that brisket. It looks fantastic. Beautiful. Nice bend to it. A lot of moisture still inside there. The fat on the bottom here is nice and yellow and rendered. That looks amazing. I'm gonna prop that up. We'll grab a slice right here. Check that out. Look at that. Beautiful looking brisket right there. You know it's tender, it's clapping. Check that out. Beautiful. So tender. Just pulls apart. So much moisture, so juicy. This looks amazing. Again, check that out. Let's jump out and let's do the taste test. All right, guys, it's the moment of truth. We're gonna try this brisket here. This is one of the pieces that I pulled apart, and it looks amazing. It's so juicy. It's so tender. I got nothing left. I've been waiting a day to try this, so let's do it. It is perfectly seasoned. There's enough salt on there. You get the pepper. The flavor from that post oak is chef's kiss. The Ole Hickory knocked it out of the park again. It is barked up. It's got a smoke ring. It's got good fat render. I mean, this is a fantastic brisket. I would say the long rest was 100% worth it. I don't know if I'll be doing it every cook, but to have it in the arsenal as an option and know that it works, game changer. The fat on the bottom is just nice and sticky and kind of got that cookie consistency, and just, I mean, it is just, oh, this is amazing. So wonderful brisket right here. Especially for not being prime. I couldn't ask for more from this brisket. I'm giving it a solid 9.5 out of 10 because there's always room for improvement. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, stay safe, and we will see you next time.